Over the last 3 weeks, we've talked about why your body holds on, what cortisol does to your weight, and why the hardest kilos you carry have nothing to do with food. And today I want to bring it all together because I want to show you what actually becomes possible when you learn to work with your body instead of against it. And I want to make this practical. I want you to leave today knowing exactly what a different approach looks like. Let me bring, first of all, the last 3 weeks together for you quickly. Week 1, we looked at how your body holds on when it doesn't feel safe. The nervous system, in a state of chronic threat, resists fat release because fat to the body and the brain is survival fuel. Safety, not restriction. This is the prerequisite for change. Week 2, willpower is a myth and cortisol is the real driver. Stress, poor sleep, self-criticism and restriction all raise cortisol, which drives belly fat storage, muscle breakdown and cravings. The solution is nervous system regulation, not more discipline. Week 3, the weight you carry is not just food. Unprocessed emotional experiences, grief, resentment, trauma, they're all stored stress and it all lives in the body as physiological load. And until they're acknowledged and processed, they continue to drive our behaviors and the biology that keep the weight in place. So if all of this is true and if science supports all of it as well, what does a different approach actually look like? The paradigm most women have been operating from looks like this. Identify what's wrong with the body, apply discipline and restriction to fix it, measure your success by the scale, the number on the scale, then feel shame when you fail, and then repeat. This paradigm, I want to say clearly, has never worked long-term for the vast majority of people. The research is clear. Diets fail 80 to 95% of the time after around the 5-year mark. And it's not because people lack discipline either. It's because restriction is a stressor on the body. And stresses, as we know now, they make the biological environment much worse and much harder for weight loss. The paradigm I work from and what we've been building towards over these last 4 weeks looks very different. It doesn't start with what's wrong, but it asks what is needed. It asks what does the nervous system need to feel safe enough to change. It treats your body not as a problem to be solved, but as an intelligent system to be understood and supported. And it measures success not just by the scale either. It measures it by energy, sleep quality, relationship with food, and how a woman actually feels in her skin. The practical expression of this is what I call regulation over restriction. And it has 4 pillars. Number 1, nourishment. Eating in a way that supports hormonal health and blood sugar stability, and not in a way that punishes or deprives. So that's adequate protein, real foods, eating with awareness and without guilt. Then movement, moving the body in a way that lowers cortisol rather than raises it. So we're looking at strength training, walking, gentle restorative movement, stopping the punishing cardio repetitively with no other training, and regulation practices. So daily practices that actively signal safety to the nervous system. So things like breath work, stillness, time in nature, connection, and sleep prioritized over everything else. And emotional processing, ongoing, honest engagement with what you're feeling and what you're actually carrying. Not as a side project, but as central to the work that we're doing. I want to tell you what I see with the women that make this shift because I've witnessed it enough times now to know that this pattern is undeniable. The first thing that changes is their relationship with food. Women who spent decades in that cycle of restriction and binging of good foods and bad foods, they suddenly find that compulsion begins to ease. And it's not because they've suddenly found a better diet, because the nervous system, which was dysregulated, was driving that compulsion. It starts now to relax because the food was never actually the problem. It was the solution to a problem that lay much deeper. The second thing that changes is energy. When you're no longer at war with your body, the energy that was being consumed by that war now becomes available for other things. Women describe a kind of aliveness returning, a capacity for joy, an engagement that they thought had gone forever. The third thing that happens is the weight begins to shift. Not because of restriction, but because physiologically the environment has now changed. Cortisol is lower, sleep is better, inflammation is reduced, and the nervous system has now found a new, safer baseline. And from that baseline, the body becomes willing to let go. Now, this isn't a quick fix. This is deep work, and it does take time. But the results come and they are lasting. And that's because they're built on something real, not on a diet that you can't sustain, but a fundamentally different relationship with your own body. We've covered a lot of ground here over the last 4 weeks, and I want to acknowledge you for staying here with me and being so focused, because some of the material does ask a lot of you. It asks you to question things that you may not have looked at for quite some time, and to question things that become quite raw. It asks you to feel things that maybe you haven't managed yet. It asks you to consider a path forward that may look different to what you've been used to. And that can be scary at times. And it certainly takes courage. Here's what I know about you, even without knowing you personally. You're still here. So after everything that menopause has thrown at you, the sleepless nights, the unexplained weight gain, the exhaustion, the moods, the moments of not feeling like yourself, you're still here looking for answers, and you're still willing to try. Now, that's not small. That is a huge statement. I work with women in exactly this space. Women who are at that intersection of menopause, the nervous system, health, mindset, and the body. My coaching program goes through everything that we've touched on over the last few weeks, and much, much deeper. If you're ready to stop managing the symptoms and start actually living again and having the body back that you so dream of, then I'd love to talk to you. If this is something that you want help with, reach out when you're ready. We'll talk, we'll find out if it's a good fit, and we'll go from there. 4 weeks ago, I asked you, what if everything you've been told about why you can't lose weight is wrong? I hope by now you do have a different answer to that question. Not a louder, more dominant version of the same old approach, but something genuinely new and different. A new orientation, a new starting point. Not what's wrong with me and how do I fix it, but what does my body need and how do I give it that? The answer to that question is what changes everything.